Okay, we are finally playing catch up. And boy, there are some things you just didn't do. Taking away Mick's booze is one of them. The episode opens in 1992 with young Dr. Stein using some impressive archery to get the last Bevo doll in a store. Bebo is an annoying mix between Tickle Me Elmo and a Furby. But just as the crowd of angry parents look about to lynch him, he gets zapped back in time and comes face to face with an. He gets zapped back in time, ends up in Finland, and finds himself surrounded by a horde of angry Vikings ready to lynch him. Meanwhile, the new Captain Cold is endearing himself to the crew in the worst way possible. First by trying to give them therapy to get over the loss of Dr. Stein with a puppet of Dr. Stein. Thankfully, everyone just decides to mess with him, with Mick putting the final nail in the coffin by beating the puppet half to death, if that's possible to do to a puppet. And he takes away Mick's booze, which is a sore point throughout the episode. So, and that brings us to Jax, who isn't taking Stein's death well, as you can imagine. So, since they shared sensations, feelings, and even thoughts because of their attachment through the Firestorm Matrix, he is not taking it well, and when they get hit by an anomaly that Gideon decides to classify a level 12 because their 10 rating system doesn't seem adequate for describing this level of event. They find out that America is now New Valhalla, and that the Vikings took over the whole of North America instead of leaving, and instead of stopping at Finland and then leaving like they did in history. So they go back to Finland and find the Viking colony is led by a brother and sister who seem to be in disagreement over what to do. Sister seems to want to worship some form of God, whereas the brother has become a true believer in Christ. So he's not having any of it. But she seems to have set herself up as the high priest for some new god. Jax then finds the young Stein strung up like the cast of Star Wars in Return of the Jedi in a tree, gets him down, and Stein fills them in. He was captured by the Vikings, and they took his Bevo doll, and now they're worshipping it. Basically, they're making decisions based on what the Bevo doll says. And a god whose every other phrase is Bevo hungry. Well, let's just say there are very few ways to put a positive spin on that. So they usually think it wants them to do things like pillage and execute people. And they ask him if he wants to do something. Sarah receives a call from Agent, what's her name? Agent Business Suit. And she, first to say that she's sorry about Stein, and then to ask if they could use some help because, well, it is a level 12 event and their scale is only supposed to go up to 10. Agent Business Suit then comes in to help them, and Jack, to try and get the Bevo doll, despite Mick getting caught trying to steal mead from the shrine of Bevo, they do manage to fry the Bevo doll, while Jax uses the jumper to take Stein back to 1992. He then gives Stein a letter, a la Back to the Future. Stein calls him on this, but Jax insists that he keep the letter and not open it until the day before the event of Crisis on Earth X. So he seems to have that sewn up and rejoins the group, even though they managed to destroy the Bevo doll, they end up in trouble because then Damien Dark and his daughter show up in bad cosplay, and he's wielding a trident that actually has 3 spikes. Yeah, a trident is only supposed to have 3 spikes, Aquaman. Otherwise, it's not a trident. See, the tri means free. Well, and it shoots lightning, and he's telling everyone he's Odin. So Christmas went from being changed to Bevo Day to Odin Day. So not much improvement in the timeline. And so they all have to get together and come up with a plan. Of course, you have the usual hijinks and hilarity as everyone comes up with as they all come up with a plan, and they fight off Damien Dark and all that with Agent Business Suit's help, but Sarah gets zapped into an alternate dimension momentarily, where she comes face to face with their big threat Mollusk, who says that that soon he will be free and he will devour all of Earth. Shiva gets pulled out. They get rid of David. They get rid of David Dark, daughter, and the Vikings. They use a fabricated Bevo doll being controlled by Ray Palmer on the inside of it to tell them that Jesus is the one true God. Embrace Christianity. The monks have been teaching them, and to go back to Greenland. So history is fixed. However, Jax soon finds out that Stein didn't read the letter because time hasn't changed in that way. He goes back to 1992 to ask Stein why he didn't, and Stein reveals that he burnt the letter right after Jax left because he doesn't want to affect Jack's life or anyone else's, and he's not about to betray everything he believes in. So that ends, and after a Christmas celebration, Jax decides to leave. Yeah, I can't believe they're getting rid of Jax. Thankfully, apparently we're going to gain Wally West, so that's something. But still. So there's a very emotional goodbye to Jax, and we're and we're all. But then Sarah Lance runs into John Constantine, who I guess. So I guess his NBC show is being brought into continuity now, which is fine. That's why the multiverse exists, and that's why I don't buy this thing that Black Lightning will never interact with the Arrowverse, because they've had 2 shows so far from other networks that they brought in universe. Bringing in a show that's on the same network into universe is hardly going to be a problem. But he says that there's some big threat that he needs the Legends' help with, and so we're off until for another couple of weeks. This episode was a pretty good Christmas episode. It was a lot of fun, and Bevo is a good addition to the lore. Yeah, we had the emotional exit of Jax, and it's pretty much a must-see episode, so I give it 8 out of 10. We're going to be playing catch-up now for all the Arrowverse shows, so don't worry. The only one whose Christmas episode I won't be reviewing while I'm playing catch-up is The Flash, since I made my feelings about that episode known in my video entitled "About the Missing Episodes." If you want to know what I thought about the Flash episode in the Flash Christmas episode in particular, well, I talked about it there. Spoiler warning, I gave it a 4 out of 10. So make of that what you will. Well, anyway, so see you in the next review.